all can see me now. Yes. So now, today the topic is all about hair profiling. It may sound new for few, but it may be very familiar for many of you all, because you already would have undergone the hair profiling or hair analysis testing. Now, even though it may look new for me, in spite of being in this field for almost 9 years, I still feel out there around 90% of the world population, or the people around, are still not aware that there is something called hair profiling, the hair root analysis, where we can go and check your hair or the cellular health. So that's the reason I thought, let me start off with this hair profiling today, so that it will be easy for all of us to move further step by step from the golden hands, where we will be educating you all in terms of knowledge, giving you a lot of tips on in terms of how to be healthy, so in many areas. So saying that, the hair profiling being something very unique and something very important for all of us. So I prefer to share this beautiful knowledge for you all, so that you can start moving forward to know more about this and then start working on it. Now, the basic first question to every one of you would be, are you healthy? Now, many of us will say, yes, I am healthy. Now, absence of a disease doesn't mean you're healthy. Now, this I can tell you very, I would say very surely, that it doesn't mean you are healthy just because you don't have a disease. Now, why do I say that is, in the past 20 years, what I have seen is many of the people who have been very healthy, they either drop dead suddenly without no reason, they get a massive heart attack and then they die. And there are few other people who get a heart attack and then after that they go to the hospital and then get treated, they get revived. And many times it may not be cardiac, it will be cancer. This is something which is quite alarming in today's world of newer generation with a lot of digital evolvement. We do face a lot of problems because of the digitalization of the whole world. So on one side we are talking about civilization, on one side we are facing a lot of health issues. Now, whether you are healthy or not, how do we know? That is where we from Golden Hands are coming down, and then we are telling you why not. You need to do certain investigations by which you will be able to let you know where you are. Now, saying that, what are the things normally we will be doing? The moment you get into any healthcare professional, what they will do is they will do a blood test, maybe sometimes a urine test, saliva test, your x-ray, CT scan, MRI, or there can be some different other tests which they will do, and then finally they will come to a proper conclusion. Okay, this is what is your problem. Now, after this, what happens? You get into the disease process or a diagnosis of a particular disease. Now, for example, if I'm going to tell you, let's start with probably a heart attack. Now, the moment you go to a doctor, what they will do a emergency angiogram and then do all the blood tests, and then automatically what will happen is they will definitely come to a situation where they will start you on some medication, and sometime it will be an intervention which they will do the intervention, and from there you will be given some medication which you will be consuming it most of the time. It will be for lifelong. Like it can be a blood thinners, it can be your cholesterol medications, and it can be other medications supportively for your blood pressure, your diabetes, your kidney related issues, or to your liver. Now, whatever said and done, once we as doctors pick up the diagnosis of a particular problem, we just focus on that particular problem and then we start assisting you. Now, is that all we know about being healthy? I would say no. We have to look certain things from a different angle. That's the reason today we are here, to see certain things from a different perspective. We always say we see from the three-dimensional. That means you see from the aerial view, because normally it's two-dimensional. Like you see a photograph is always a two-dimensional picture what you see, but I would say as a doctor we all need to look from a three-dimensional picture. That is when we can see a lot of things microscopically, so we can do a lot of micromanagement. Now, saying that, once we finish your blood test, what is that happening? Why should we, today as I'm talking to you, it's something to do with your hair root analysis, right? Now, why should we do a hair root analysis? Today's topic is hair profiling. There's another word where we commonly use is the hair root analysis. Why do we do that? Now, to unlock the secrets of your health at the cellular level, we are supposed to do the hair root analysis. Now, saying that, just go to the basics. Now, what happens? Everything begins at the cellular level. That means you're talking about blood pressure, you're talking about heart issues, you're talking about kidney issues, you're talking about liver issues. Everything will go back to the basics, wherein we are starting starting at the cellular level. Now when things are starting at the cellular level, what happens? It will slowly move on to the next level. Now basically we all know that we do have 50 trillion cells in our body. Just imagine we in a home wherein we are not able to manage 4 different people with 4 different thought patterns, with 4 different attitudes, behaviors. But our body with 50 trillion cells, they all are working hand in gloves with each other. They speak to each other and they communicate with each other, and then they balance your body functions. Just a simple example if I have to give you, you're climbing a stair. Now the moment you're climbing your stair, what you need to do is, of course, you need to lift your left leg up, put on the stair first, and then go up, then put your right leg. So automatically what happens is your brain will communicate with the legs to say the left first, the right next, the left first, the right next. So automatically there is a coordination happening. Now just imagine so beautifully when your brain can communicate with the moment you decide you're going to climb the stairs. And then imagine just finishing 10 stairs or 15 stairs. Your start needs to, pump a little more blood to the peripheries and to the organs. Why? Because it requires that amount of blood to the organs. So automatically your heart starts beating more. So when it increases, the brain has to tell the heart, okay, come now, move on, increase your heart rate. That is where your heart rate gets increased. Now when you look at, there is always a synchronization, and there's a lot of beautiful things happening within our body which we all don't even feel it, we don't understand, and many a times we all ignore the coordination of our body organs. And imagine how many organs we have? It's more than 70 plus organs inside our body. Now you just cannot imagine the complexity of our body. And I would say I'm very fascinated by the cell, because the moment you enter inside a cell, it is like a huge factory. There are a lot of things happening inside the cell without your knowledge, without your, it doesn't take your permission, but the cell starts doing its job. The beauty of the cell is it will do its job as per its functionality, as per its how healthy it is. So when you're looking at the cell, we need to, as a human being, as a whole organism, what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to give the required amount of whatever the nutrition, the current, the vibration. I always speak about vibration, then the required amount of energy. All these are necessary for a cell to function. Now just imagine one cell needs so many factors for it to function. Imagine 50 trillion cells. How unimaginable it is that every cell needs the same, whatever nutrition you're talking, whatever cells you're talking, you definitely need the support of whatever you eat is necessary to be nutritious. That is how you're able to help yourself. So with this complexity, now what are we trying to do is, we are trying to look at a little basics. Now this is a very very basic slide where I am sharing with you. Is the first thing what you see is your cell. Okay, we were talking about cells, right? Now all the cells join together form a tissue. Now the tissue once again forms an organ, and organ as a all together you are as a full human body. Now we as medical doctors, we are doing our the best of our in our ability. We are trying to focus on the disease. Now this is something which many times people don't understand, that doctors, we are trained to see at a disease process and pick up the disease and then treat the disease. That's it. So we are not looking at the prevention part of it. But now with the cellular health, with our hair analysis, with 9 years into the preventive healthcare programs, what I have done is I've gone into the cell. Now all the while I never knew that we can go to the cell level, pick up some information, and then we correct the cell. We can do a lot of support to our health system, which I also didn't know. Only in 2015 I started working towards it, and then today I can positively let you know that the moment we correct the cell, your disease process also gets corrected. So that means your disease can reduce, your disease process can be stopped, the complication can be stopped, and at least you become healthy. You feel nice at the end of the day. When you feel healthy, it's an amazing situation for you. Without medication, without any drugs on you, you will definitely feel very happy. So we are talking about cellular health. So what we are doing at Golden Hands is we are going at a cellular. But of course, being a doctor, I still can work from your organ level as well. I still can give the prescription for your blood test. I still can give the prescription for you at the CT scan or anything, any blood investigation, blood parameters I need, I can go there. But from the cellular level, we pick up the signals of your cell, and then from there we let you know what exactly is your necessity, and accordingly only we will make your things happen so that it's easy for you. Now you need to understand that it takes years to damage many cells and manifest as a disease. This is something very, very important. So don't think that the day you just go down and then suddenly your blood pressure is high. It doesn't happen overnight. If at all, if your blood pressure is high or your sugar level is high, it takes 2 to 3 years by the time it manifests in the form of a blood report to say that it is high. So that means the previous 1 to 2 years there has been something going on. Only thing is you have been ignoring, you have been not giving the concern, necessity, support for your body. It could be like, for example, just a headache, a simple headache. You will think it's just an ordinary headache. You will pop in one painkiller. But at the end of the day, when this has been there for some time, many times it may not be blood pressure alone that it is giving rise to headache. Like now you will be, I think in India it's very, very hot. The temperature is high. Even in Malaysia, we are all facing the same problem with the temperature rising up. Now what we need to understand is whenever the temperature rises up, there is a little bit of electrolyte imbalances happening in your body. That means your hydration, your drinking water plays a very, very important role. Along with water, you need to balance your electrolytes. Now if you're balancing your electrolytes, I mean your sodium, your potassium, your chlorides. All these play a very, very... Now these are the only three, like your potassium, your chlorides, and your sodium plays a very important role in your cell electrolyte imbalances. Now many times you have dehydration and you will have a headache. The simplest reason. You can have giddiness, you can have brain foggy. All these can happen just because of dehydration. So what we need to understand is we need to have a very, very balanced journey of life. That is when we all can, at least live our life reasonably healthy. So in that way, we are talking about epigenetic factors play a very, very important role in your cellular health. Now, so finally what happened? Epigenetic factors play a role in your cell. So if anybody is talking about cellular health, you need to understand that you have to pick up the epigenetic factors. Then only you are talking about correcting the cellular function. Just by seeing a blood test, you are not going to treat the cell level. So this is something which we all need to understand. Once you understand that it is your epigenetic factor which plays a very important role, that is how you should be able to go further. Now we all know that we all have a DNA. That is what is called the genetics. Now, genetics are like a loaded gun. Now there can be diseases. There can be diseases which are predominant in certain people, which is actually transmitted through our parents. So that means our genetics, we are all loaded with whatever problems from our ancestors, and you won't believe there can be jumping of genes. That means your forefathers, maybe 3 generations, 4 generations, before, had some genetic disease, which the next 3 generations will not manifest. But the fourth generation, which is you, will be manifesting that genetic problem. Now, the good news for all of us is whatever genetics, whatever problem we have, we still can correct the epigenetic factors. Why? Because epigenetic factors are the triggers of the gun. Now, if you don't pull the trigger, the bullet won't come out, right? So that means your diseases doesn't get manifested if you do not pull the trigger. Now, that is when we are talking about epigenetic factors, which are all the trigger factors. Now, let's see this particular video and you will understand about hair profiling.
Who you are started with DNA inherited from your mom and dad. Your DNA makes up your genome, the genetic blueprint that makes you, you. Turns out, there's a higher level of complexity called the epigenome. Here's how it works. As you go through life making choices, your epigenome adds genetic tags to your DNA. These tags act like a dimmer for lights, controlling which genes are used, when they are used, and how much they are used. Good lifestyle choices turn healthy genes on and unhealthy genes off. Bad choices do just the opposite.
Would you like fries with that?
Misplaced epigenetic tags will lead to serious health problems. Think of it this way. Who you are is written in both pen and pencil. Things written in pen you can't change. That's DNA. But things written in pencil, you can. That's epigenetics. So what if there was a simple, proven way to turn good genes on and bad genes off? And improve upon the genetic code your parents left to become your best possible you.
Alright, so now what's happening is, what you are seeing is the video which very beautifully said is your genes can be activated by what you are eating. It can be even your thought patterns. So ultimately what happens is everything starts with your own makeup. That means right from the morning where you wake up until you go back to bed, what kind of thinking you have. Is it a positive thinking? Is it a positive kind of lifestyle? What kind of food do you eat? How much of additives, how much of ready-made foods you are eating? Everything plays a very, very important role. And at the end of the day, it will manifest after a few years. It is not going to overnight show you some diseases. Like for example, you just go eat in a hotel. Now suddenly something not right, you may have a little bit of loose motion. That is the initial thing. But if you are going to have the same food regularly in that particular restaurant, your body may become immune to that kind of food. But at the end of the day, those little changes what you are eating over a period of time can definitely hamper. Like for example, fatty liver, the kind of oil what you consume, the kind of food what you eat, the kind of sugars what you take, all plays a very, very important role. And at the end of the day, it will definitely manifest in the form of a disease. Now if you are looking at, you want to be healthy, it is not a one-day program. You're going to, okay, I'm going to change everything and then I'm going to become healthy. It is not going to happen. It will never happen. You are supposed to work towards it every day. That means morning until night, you have to plan what food you are going to eat. You need to plan how you are going to lead your life. Definitely, we all have challenges. Like as I told you, the climatic changes. Now, is there any possibility you can change the climate to a cooler one? No, we cannot. What is the alternative you can do? The only alternative you can do is maybe you can stay at home, number one. Number two, if at all you have an air conditioning, you can use an air conditioning. If you don't have an air conditioning, maybe an air cooler. Now, worst come worst, you won't believe when I did my MBBS, we never had air coolers, we never had air conditioning. And the temperature in my medical college, the place where I studies, was minimum 43 degrees. That was the temperature. So imagine 43 to 45, and I still remember there was one time it went up to 48 degrees. It will be boiling hot. You just put one more egg on the road there, it will boil into a beautifully cooked egg. Now that was the temperature. So what we used to do in our rooms is, I still remember, just pour water into the room. That's it. And we used to stay inside the room like floods, with the water inside the room. This is how we used to spend those days in 1982, the 5 years of my education. This is what we did. But today you all have an option. You can fix an air conditioner, you can buy an air cooler. There are a lot of things, and even in the workplace, you all have an air conditioning. Like for us, we never had air conditioning. As I told you, we never had air conditioning. We had a ceiling fan. Imagine we are in a hall and we are doing some dissection of the bodies, or we are going for some practical. We never had any kind of air conditioning system, but we all lived that life. And today, that's the reason I can boldly say I am able to adjust myself. My body is able to adjust myself to any damn changes outside the world. We are able to handle it. In that way, it is much more easier for us to. It's all in the mindset. So ultimately, I will say it's your mindset which plays a very, very important role in your day-to-day life. How positive are you? How much do you think positive in your life? How much you can adapt to the changes, whatever happening outside, can you change? So when you can do that, your epigenetic factor also will be playing a very important role in correcting the metabolic differences, and then thereby you will become much more healthier. It plays a very, very important role for us all to be in a healthy lifestyle. But saying that, when you look at that, can you see the human gene, what I have put down there? How many genes are there packed in every human cell? How many genes are there inside? 25,000. We are talking about 50 trillion cells, and in a human cell, how many genes are there? 25,000 genes are there inside, which can switch on and switch off. Can you imagine? Can you just even believe that this is something amazing by the creator who has created us? And imagine in one cell, if he can create such kind of compact information which is already stored there, and then you are supposed to take care of your epigenetic factors. Now what are we doing? Why aren't we taking care of the epigenetic factors? We are just blindly eating whatever we want. We think whatever we want. We go on talking negative about certain things and certain situation outside. Now, at the end of the day, who is going to face the problem? It is we who are going to. You can talk anything, but if you cannot change, there is nothing you can do. So why do you want to talk about it? So saying that, ultimately, epigenetic factors plays an important role. Now, this is one beautiful example. We all know that during pregnancy, what we normally do, our ancestors or our parents, they will say, hey, during pregnancy, don't eat this, don't do that, don't bend down, don't travel in the motorcycle, all this. And the moment you go to a doctor, what the doctor will say, if you have been smoking, please stop smoking. If you are not taking folic acid, they will give you folic acid. Now, why do they give folic acid? Folic acid plays a very, very important role in the brain development. Can you believe this is the only time we all have been given folic acid? But in my practice here in the 9 years with epigenetic factors and doing the hair analysis and doing the bioquantum analysis, I find a lot of people are having folic acid deficiency. All adults, they are not pregnant, and the males, why should they have folic acid deficiency? Yes, because in the food there are a lot of deficiencies we are facing. And then in turn, because of the deficiency, your brain cannot work properly. Now, not only folic acid plays an important role in your brain development, it also plays a very, very important role in your cognitive behavior, in the brain function. Folic acid plays a very, very important role. If you have a deficiency, what will happen? Automatically there will be a metabolic changes, and thereby one of the commonest problem we will face when you are 50 plus is, sir, I'm not able to remember, I forget things. Now, do you mean to say just because you aged, you're 50 plus, you're supposed to forget? No. In fact, in Malaysia, we had a prime minister who was 93 years old. He was a prime minister. So that doesn't mean that just because you're aging, you need to forget things. You are not supposed to. Why? Because you're supposed to take care of your nutrition. So epigenetic marks can be influenced by your environment. Right? Now, can you see the kind of different factors which can modulate, which can moderate a lot of things in your body, right from your psychological state. As I told you, when you wake up in the morning, what is your mental state? How happy are you? If you are a happy person waking up in that mood of happiness, your whole day will be fine. But the moment you say, today I'm going to work, today my boss is going to scold me, today I'm having a lot of work, definitely your whole day will be totally spoiled. But the moment you start, this is all by practice only you will be able to do. So your psychological state, how do you take things? The moment many of us, what we invariably is, if there is a situation no for you, for example, you're looking forward for something, and then at the end of the day, that particular person, maybe you wanted 10 rupees or 10 ringgits from someone, you ask that person, and the person says, sorry sir, I cannot give you. The moment immediately our mind will start speaking, why he is not giving me the money? How can he not give? I helped him whenever he wanted. All these psychological fights will happen in our brain, and we start thinking beyond our means why he didn't give. But we don't look at the moment you don't get that 10 rupees or 10 ringgits from that particular person, what is the next alternative you're going to do? Whom are you going to ask? What is the next you're going to do? Are you going to take from your savings? Are you going to break open the cash box? All these you need to plan. But many of the times we don't look at solutions. So I always will tell you have to look at solutions. So psychological state plays a very important role. Then coming to the next one, your diet. Diet plays a very, very important role. Over here, in fact in Malaysia, I see a lot of people having kidney issues. Now why is the kidney issues coming? One of the simplest, I would say, the person doesn't have diabetes, the person doesn't have blood pressure, but I see a lot of people having kidney issues. Now why is that they are having a kidney issue? I feel there's a lot of problem with your water. Now why? Heavy metals. If your water is not filtered properly, definitely you will have problems at a later date. And that's what I notice in Malaysia here. We see a lot of people having kidney issues. Why? Because your water, what you're drinking, is not clean and it is not filtered properly, and it contains a lot of heavy metals, which knowingly or unknowingly, when you drink for a very, very long time, it does affect your kidneys, especially the heavy metals. So coming back to your diet, as I told you, consuming 70% of vegetarian food will be an added advantage. With 30% of your non-vegetarian or meat-related products when you're taking, it's still acceptable. But majority, your 70% of your diet should be vegetarian. It will help you to balance your journey of life, because most of the nutrients are available in a vegetarian food. Only thing is, it all depends on how you are tuned your brain for you to accept that being a vegetarian is still very good, very fine, and absolutely no issues. Then coming to your diurnal seasonal correlations, as I told you, now is a hot climate. Now there are people who are in the other part of the world where it will be cold, somewhere it will be spring. Now whatever the diurnal variation is happening outside, what can you do about it? You cannot do anything. So you need to adapt. Now what I would always request is you all have to look at the animals. Do you think any animal will come out and say, hey, it's so hot, I just cannot, go and catch my prey. I'm going to rest today because today it's so hot. Do you think an animal will tell? No. The animal will go do its job, catch its prey, eat, and then come back and then stay in a shade. That's it. Whereas you and I, as a human being, what do? We go on complaining about the environment, so much so that in a span of just 10 minutes, we would have told so many times, hey, you, it is so hot. Hey, you, it is so hot. Now, what are you trying to claim? You are only putting in a lot of unfavorable, negative thoughts in your brain, and then you're attracting that unfavorable situation of being uncomfortable. You are